I'm at the Renaissance Pleasure Fair in California, the original Renaissance Fair, 51 years now. And what I figured is while I'm here enjoying my mead, dressed up like a Renaissance merchant, was to tell you guys about my 8 great fantasy movies. My name is... I burped. Tell me when.
We're good to go. All right.
My name is Evan Faraci, and this is Badass Digest. This is not in any kind of order. This isn't best to worst or anything like that. These are just 8 fantasy movies that I think are incredible. Fantasy is kind of a big term, and I think it covers a lot of different kinds of movies, including films based on Greek mythology. Jason and the Argonauts. I mean, you have to have a Ray Harryhausen movie on any kind of great fantasy movie list. Jason and the Argonauts, maybe that's my favorite. I don't know, The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, these are all pretty terrific. Jason and the Argonauts has that incredible fight with the skeletons. It's an extraordinary adventure story. It's guys in sandals and swords versus the forces of the gods themselves. What if the internet had been around in the early 80s? Would the entire internet have gone crazy on the idea of an Austrian bodybuilder playing Conan the Barbarian, Robert E. Howard's incredible pulp character? They probably would have shit their pants, but here's the thing. Arnold Schwarzenegger created an iconic character in Conan. Conan the Barbarian is an incredible movie because it takes the fantasy seriously. Basil Paul Darris' score is unbelievable. There isn't a ton of dialogue. The movie allows you to come along and experience the story through the eyes of Conan himself. And also, James Earl Jones as Thulsa Doom, and one of the greatest bad guys of all time. But you know that sequence of Arnie just practicing with his sword, this is what fantasy's all about. Giant buff dudes in their underwear, wielding swords and cutting other dudes' heads off. That's all we need. Terry Gilliam is one of our great directors, and a lot of the movies he makes are actually in the fantasy genre. Time Bandits is one of the great fantasy movies of all time. It's about time travel, but it isn't in a science fiction kind of way. It's these characters that are using this incredible map, these delightful dwarfs, thieves, jerks, assholes, who take a kid along with them, travel through all different periods of history, and along the way, defeat the devil himself. Or do they? Time Bandits is dark and fascinating. Gilliam is at his best here. His aesthetic is stronger than ever before. That sequence, if you've seen it in the theaters, and you should see Time Bandits in the theaters, by the way, where the giant stands up from the ocean and he's wearing the boat as a hat. It's unbelievable. This is what fantasy is all about. Creating large worlds of magic and wonder. Creating within us incredible awe. If you're making a list of great fantasy movies, there's one director you have to include. Woody Allen. I know, it seems crazy. You're thinking, what, Annie Hall, Manhattan? No. Purple Rise of Cairo is one of the great fantasy movies of all time. We're defining fantasy as movies where magical things occur. And Purple Rose of Cairo, a black and white actor comes off the screen to interact with a woman who's watching his movies during the Great Depression. It's a movie with the magic of movies themselves. It's one of the most extraordinarily beautiful and sweet films about the magic that happens in our lives every single day. That is not that good a ride. All right, so it's important to note, this list is in no order whatsoever, so I don't even know where they're gonna edit this next part in, because Excalibur, John Boorman's Excalibur, we're doing a list of 8 great fantasy movies. Excalibur is maybe one of the greatest movies ever. Excalibur is this incredible, sweeping, epic story. It's the tale of King Arthur and Merlin, but it's more than that. It's everything that is incredible about cinema itself. It's about creating magic. It's about experiencing magic. Also, it's got plenty of hot broads and incredibly hot chainmail outfits. It's the future, it's the past, it's the present. It has Sir Patrick Stewart, Jean-Luc Picard himself, running around swinging a sword. What else do you ask for from one of your 8 great fantasy movies of all time? Look, let's be honest. Any list of great fantasy movies has got to include the Lord of the Rings films. But which one? I mean, you can go Fellowship because it creates the Shire. It's so beautiful. Two Towers. I think it's probably the most exciting and wonderful one of the 3. Return of the King. The emotion involved in that is unbelievable. The reality is, I'm going to cheat it. I'm going to put all 3 on this list. Lord of the Rings trilogy needs to be consumed as a single movie. J.R.R. Tolkien wrote it as one book. Peter Jackson technically shot it as one movie, and it really is one story. If you guys are even half as much a fantasy fan as I am, you're going to agree that Princess Bride It's among the greatest fantasy films of all time. From the rodents of unusual size to the death match against the Sicilian, as a Sicilian that really rings deep with me, to the larger world in general, the Dread Pirate Roberts, Princess Buttercup, the Six-Fingered Man. Princess Bride takes every single weird little thing about fantasy that we love, legend, myth, brings it together in a sweet, adorable, and eventually heartwarming story. So this is an 8th grade, and in the 8th grade tradition, we don't really do like in order, except now, The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz is an extraordinary motion picture. I think it's one of the greatest movies of all time, like The Godfather 2, a couple of other films, and then this movie, right? The characters are incredible. The Scarecrow, the Tin Man, the Cowardly Lion. These are among the most incredible characters ever created in any fiction at all. I'm gonna tell you the craziest trivia about The Wizard of Oz. They wanted to cut Somewhere Over the Rainbow out of the movie. After the initial test screening, the Suits decided that Somewhere Over the Rainbow, perhaps the iconic song from Wizard of Oz, needed to be cut out of the movie. It slowed it down too much. I mean, has there ever been a greater reason to hate Hollywood Suits than that? Fantasy is all about being a kid and having an imagination, letting it run wild, going big. The Wizard of Oz is all of these things. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I finally saw it on the big screen last year, and I cried all the way through it. So, you know what? Judge me all you want, but I think The Wizard of Oz is the greatest fantasy movie ever made. I know I left a couple out. There are a tremendous number of terrific sword and sorcery films I left on the floor. I love the Harry Potter movies, but guess what? None of them made my 8. Which one do you think should have been on this list? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode going forward. Like us on Facebook. Tweet to all your friends, let them know. And be back here again next week. I'll be doing something totally different, but just as badass as this. My name is Devin Faraci, and this is Badass Digest. I don't look that much like Zach Galifianakis. It's just racism. It's just fat, bearded white guy racism.
Get your film fix. Subscribe to Cinefix.